Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. You know, there's not a day or a week that goes by where I don't receive an email or have a conversation with a woman who says, Joe, I'm just afraid of being hurt again. You know, I put myself out there and I thought I had found the one, and ultimately it crashed and burned and I got devastated. And you know what? My heart goes out to you because, believe it or not, us guys go through that too. There was a time in my life where I was lied to, I was dumped, I was cheated on, and I had to cancel a wedding 28 days before walking down the aisle. And then I had to face everyone I knew and said, you know what? It's over. And, you know, the humiliation that I felt at that point, thinking that it was all my fault, you know, was really something I never wanted to experience again. And what I'd like to explain to you in this video is that there's a fine line between being too cautious and being afraid. Now, if you're going to go out there and you're going to put yourself out there, I highly recommend that you are cautious, that you are very cautious. You know, if you're over 20 years old and you've dated more than one guy in your life, you kind of know that guys don't always say what they do and do what they say. They'll lead you on, they'll lie to you, they'll misrepresent themselves, they'll tell you one thing and you'll give them your heart, and then ultimately they'll disappear, they'll turn into a different creature. And then you're left going, you know, well, what the hell's going on? You know, but you want to use that to your advantage. And that's where being cautious comes in. You know, I explained my story prior where, you know, my relationship ended and I went through all of that. And I really, you know, took that mirror time to go, what happened? And what I learned is that, you know what, if I'm going to put myself back out there, I've got to be cautious. I've got to tread lightly. I've got to go in with my eyes and ears open to make sure that there's no red flags there. And if there are, I've got to address them. Or if they're not something that can be addressed, I'm going to run. And when you go in cautiously and you take that approach, you protect yourself. I always say caution is kind of like putting up a fence. The fence is there to protect yourself, but there's holes to allow only those individuals that you want to get through, those creatures that you want to get through. Where a wall is impenetrable, it doesn't allow anyone in. It doesn't allow anyone to get in to really get to know you and your heart. And so that's how you want to look at being afraid and being cautious. Being afraid is having a wall up. Being cautious is putting up a fence, and that fence is there to protect you. So today I want you to take some mirror time, you know, get really honest with yourself and say, have I been too afraid? Have I had a wall up and where I'm protecting myself from getting hurt, but in the long run, I'm causing myself more hurt, more harm? Or is there a fence where I am being cautious? I'm proceeding in a slow manner with my eyes and ears open and hopefully your legs closed to protect yourself so that when you give your heart to the right guy, you see it's a guy who's going to cherish it, who's going to honor it, who's going to respect it, and who's going to give you the things that you need. Because one thing you have to realize in being cautious is just because things start off great and the chemistry is amazing, the sex is amazing, you have a lot of things in common. That doesn't mean shit 6 months from now, 6 years from now. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just the reality of it. And so getting caught up in that excitement, the chemistry, and your hormones going wild in the beginning is one of the worst things that you're doing. So if you can learn to control that, to kind of slowly proceed with caution, then you're going to give yourself a much greater chance of succeeding and creating the relationship you desire and deserve. So take that mirror time. Really take a look at your past and see, have you been cautious? Have you been afraid? Have you jumped in too quickly? Whatever it is for you. And then after you do that, write your question, comments, and feedback about being cautious or being afraid or anything else that's on your mind in the box below. As always, an honor, privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much love.